Good morning, everybody. It's your host for Be Encouraged here on More Joy Media. Oh, man, I'm so excited today. I'm excited because I've got a guy who I've had on before because he wrote a cool little book for kids about what it means to become a superstar. I kind of like that. We'll talk about it and I'll get that straight. I'm sure I didn't do that exactly right. Yeah, no, he's fantastic. Nate Daniels, he's a professional athlete, a former professional athlete, still kind of is. He's training people to do professional stuff, and hopefully one day pass along. And such a hard thing to do, though, Nate. Right? Is to become
Absolutely.
a professional athlete. You got to have such dedication, and that's why it's so exciting to have you on because you're that kind of guy. You've been there, you've done this, and now you're trying to pass that along as well as you got a new book. Let's talk about the first book first, real fast. We'll get that. Then we're going to get into some talking about sports and stuff like that. But let's talk about your first book. What was the title of it again?
So You Want to Be a Pro.
So You Want. I was kind of close, wasn't I?
Yeah, definitely.
So You Want to Be a Pro. I need to get that behind me on my bookshelf back there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I need to get that on the book, and I will when it comes right on the bookshelf right behind me.
Yeah.
And So You Want to Be a Pro, and that's really cool. Kind of taking it how you explain that to a kid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the verbiage that they understand, and they understand that it takes dedication and it takes hard work, but it's fun and. If it's not fun, then you don't want to be doing that, right? You only want to do stuff that's fun, and that makes your heart happy,
right?
That's the way it's supposed to be. Now I want to see the second book. Let me see this thing. Do you have it out yet?
The second book, I don't have it with me.
Oh, you don't have a copy
the cover.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming. Its release date's November 1st.
November 1st. I'm excited.
And that's called So You Want to Be a Hoop Star. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But were you a hoop star?
I was.
In high school?
A hoop star. Yes, I was.
Did you play in college too?
I was supposed to, but was talked out of it, which I'm glad I was because I was a dime a dozen 6-foot guard at that level, and I had a chance to be a pretty special football player. So I was a hoop star at the high school level, definitely.
That's cool. Yeah. So you did you do baseball?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So your three sports were football, baseball, and basketball.
At high school level, yes.
At high school level. Did Verbannik coach all three of them?
No, he coached football and baseball. Probably could have coached basketball. Yeah.
He probably could have. He's a coach. But, he's a coach.
Yes.
And Coach Henry was my high school coach. Yeah. It's not about knowing the sport. It's about knowing the kids, and it's about knowing the people that you're coaching and how to motivate them. Because I learned that coaching soccer, these kids came in and they've been playing premier travel soccer and stuff way before they came into high school. And I told them straight up from the top, I said, you know what? You guys know more about different types of drills than I do. You know more about, different types of rudiments. Now, I know the rudiments. And so that's one of the things we worked on to make sure. My son complains a little bit with his teacher. He plays the stand-up bass in the orchestra and is very, very good at it. And his teacher, he complains because she always wants to do like the first half of the practice. She wants to do scales.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I know how to do scales. I want to practice my music. And I'm like, that dude, if you really knew how to do the scales, then she wouldn't have you practice them.
Right.
And he didn't want to hear that, of course, And he is good. He knows his scales and stuff. But really, that if someone listens to you do your scales and they say, okay, he can hit every note, it translates to soccer and to football. If I say dribble for me,
Right.
I know how to dribble, coach.
Mm-hmm.
Show me
Right.
that you know how to dribble, you know? Show me, and there's, for sports, show me you know how to catch a pass. I'm going to throw you a pass. I'm going to see how you catch it.
Right.
And you know, as a receiver,
Mm-hmm.
there's a stance, the hands go a certain way. Everything, there's the rudiments of catching a football. Of
Right.
course, you see Odell Beckham with one hand, reaching back and grabbing it,
Right.
but that's not the rudiment. That's just him because he's special,
Right.
But the rudiment, I know I was always taught for football to catch the ball is you put your hand like this and when the ball comes, you got your hands collapse around it.
Right.
Same with baseball. Nobody in the pros. I rarely see people catch the ball properly in the pros. Am I right?
Right. Yeah.
Because you're supposed to have that hand right next to the glove. Whenever you catch a pop fly, you have your hand next to the glove so that you can,
Right.
if it pops out or whatever, your other hand's there.
Right. Well, truly special players. I was taught this when I was young. Never get tired of the basics and never get tired of the fundamentals. And I always tell my athletes, ordinary things allow extraordinary to happen. So the more fundamentally sound that you are, the more plays you're going to make and make consistently. Obviously, some people are blessed with sublime talent that they can get away with certain things that others can't. That's just a fact of life. Talent does help supersede some deficiencies, but there's nothing like when you find somebody that's got some talent and combine that with fundamentals and you get a truly special player. And then just speaking what you were talking about as far as your son, I played the cello for 3 years, and then I played the trumpet from 6th grade all the way through college. I was a music minor, so I know all about the scales and arpeggios and everything that you're saying. I minored in music, very well versed. So you're correct. Fundamentals allow you to do extraordinary things. So I preach it. Never skip steps, and again, use every fundamental that you have to your in your arsenal to allow you to do special things.
Mr. Renaissance man, I love it.
Yeah.
You know what? What did they have in the water at Fairfax High School?
They had some good stuff for me.
Look at Brandon Royster. My God,
Brandon was special.
That guy could play the violin like nobody's business.
Yeah, but Brandon was
right.
Where he impressed me the most was the classroom. That dude.
That's what I'm saying.
4.2.
4.2.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, he went out to Stanford. He played. Yeah, he was special.
Well, you told me that you were going back through some of your videos of your games and stuff, and you heard me, huh? Did you see me?
Yeah. I didn't see. You were on a highlight. We were playing against. It was homecoming. We were playing against Lee High School, and we were at Fairfax, of course. We were at homecoming, and I heard your voiceover, and I was like, "Wow, there's Lee." So I'll have to try to find the full game because that was on like a clip, like a
right.
Clip. I'll have to try to find the full game clip and see if I can find it.
Well, I'm sure Matt Fetters was the play-by-play guy.
Yeah,
and he was kicking. I was the color guy. Also, Jake DeArmond we used to do a fair amount of Fairfax games, right? Because Brian Nern went to Fairfax, and so that's what he knew. And of course, there was nobody greater than Pat Lang. I mean, he was. Man. That was the most tragic thing when he died. He was one of my favorite people, the nicest dude you ever want to meet. Absolutely. Honest to goodness, I could not put anybody ahead of him on the nice scale, on the do it for you because he wants to do it for you kind of scale. I mean, the guy was just, and you could tell that because at the viewing, there were hundreds of people in line to come through and greet the family and all that stuff. So, man, what a loss that was, Pat Lang. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is all about Nate right now, but you got to bring him up whenever I get a chance to bring him up, man.
His family. I loved Pat. Pat was always so good. His whole entire family was always so good to me. I just messaged with his wife not too long ago, less than a week ago. And he just supported me so much in everything I did, anything that I needed. Even when I went on through Ferrum, continued to support me. And when I did my professional stuff, continued, to support me and anything I needed when I came back. And so very special man. His legacy is forever, and very special family as well as kids and everything. Great people. And again, still in contact with them today.
Right. And his wife, beautiful lady.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
His daughters, gorgeous. I mean,
Yep.
just beautiful girls.
Yeah, good.
You know, his whole family just was phenomenal, and he was just so chill. He's such a neat guy. I mean, I enjoyed going up to the school to get the contract signed, you know, for us to do games and stuff like that, because I'd always get a story out of him or something like that, you know. He was so great. Anyway. Yeah. Well, back to you, Mr. Nate. So tell me more about this. So You Want to Be a Hoop Star. Tell me about that.
So this is the follow-up of my second children's book, which is anytime I can have a chance to affect young people in any way, I'm all for it. As anybody who knows me or knows anything about me would attest to. And so this is just another opportunity to do that. I'm super excited about it. Like we mentioned, it's the follow-up to So You Want to Be a Pro. So You Want to Be a Hoop Star is about a young lady, young girl, vivacious, competitive, well-rounded young lady that absolutely loves the game of basketball. She fell in love with it at a early age. And really has dedicated herself at a young age because of her passion for the game and what it's been able to do for her even at a young age. So it shows the story of young Bella. Her mother was a former collegiate basketball player as well. So the dynamic in the So You Want to Be a Pro, my first book, really documents the relationship between the father and son and their journey. This is a unique one because it shows the student athlete of a young lady and her mother, which is a student athlete, which doesn't get a lot of representation as far as I see when you see. I mean, you hear a lot about dads and sons and, dads and daughters, but you don't really see there's phenomenal female athletes that in their own right that did tremendous things that have young athletes as well. Yes. So I thought this was an awesome opportunity. Absolutely. I'm the father of a daughter, her journey has been a special thing for me as well. So this just shows you her journey, the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. There's points where she could be deterred, and it shows you how she has to handle that, mentoring and guidance from her parents and different coaches in her life. And it's an awesome ride. I can't wait to share it with everybody. If you have a kid, even if they're not an athlete, but if you have a kid, this would be an awesome opportunity for them to see this journey and learn from it.
Sounds good. I mean, you need to hook up with Kara Lawson and get her to promote your book, man.
Yeah, Carol's doing awesome things.
All Kara has to say is buy this book and you will sell it.
It's a wrap. Yeah. What a great person and coach and player.
Yeah. And it sounds like her too. I mean, I remember I've got so many great stories of Kara having covered her.
Oh yeah.
Doing high school sports.
She was a wrecking ball up in Northern Virginia.
Yeah. Because the whole story is they were in West Potomac, and the West Potomac coach, she played for the Vogues, and she was, arguably one of the best basketball players even coming into high school as a freshman.
Yeah.
And the West Potomac coach told her parents that, well, I don't start freshmen.
Start this one.
She's like the best basketball player on the whole team. And they was like, no, we don't start freshmen. She called Billy Gibson. You start freshmen? He said, I started the best players on the team.
Yeah.
Okay, we moving to West Springfield.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I try to tell kids now about it was a different climate back then.
It was.
Like with young players. Like, and again, during the 90s, you'll see some freshmen going, but before that, even if you were a great player, it was hard. And, even back in the 70s with even collegiate, like freshmen couldn't even play. I remember like Kareem and Lou Alcindor at the time, they couldn't even play. So the culture changed. And then the Fab Five did a lot with that, showing, hey, the best players, put them on the court. And, but yeah, she was just phenomenal. I've seen her live in action. I mean,
I got enough
you
stories.
You would literally go to her games to watch her.
Yes.
She was phenomenal.
Oh, no question. Yeah. The state championship game, I'll just tell a quick little snippet here because you'll appreciate it. In the state championship game we were covering, and she went down into the corner, in the back corner at the baseline, and put up a shot. And of course, the camera followed the ball. And then the ball was just a little long, hit the rim, boom, to the other side. Guess who was standing there to get the ball?
Who's that?
Kara.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she threw it up, knew, ooh, that's too long, ran down the baseline, stopped, and got her own rebound on the other side of the court. I mean, that's when I think we went quiet. I think both the announcers, we all just went, what the? And it was like,
it's like a flash.
Holy crap. You know what I mean? And she was, that's the kind of player she was. I mean, she just could anticipate, and being a professional athlete, I know you anticipate. And that's one of those things that makes a difference between a pro, and stuff, is their ability to anticipate what's going to happen so that you can put yourself in the best place, in the best position to compete. And I think that's one of those. There's lots of them. There's lots of those little things that you picked up from a coach, or you just by rote realized, and then you just have it. You learned it somewhere. You don't necessarily know where you learned it.
Right.
I know as a goalkeeper, I knew how to shut down angles. I knew I knew my timing as far as going out after somebody who was coming down or whatever. And it was all just. I don't believe innate, because I believe everything's learned, but somewhere I learned how to do that.
Right.
And, and so I just put it into play. And that's the same with professional athletes or any other kind of hoop stars. If you want to be a hoop star, you got to pay attention.
Absolutely.
The best thing to do is go and watch people play and see how those guys do what they do.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now I want to tell me about, because we've talked about it before, because we've had you on before. Tell me about your program you got there in Richmond.
Yeah, so Daniel Sports Performance, that's where we're at right now, is my gym that I train, and my staff train youth athletes. We do sports performance training for athletes of all sports. We do speed, agility, and quickness training, strength and conditioning training, and we even do some sports specific or position specific training for receivers, defensive backs, running backs, and things of that nature. But again, we train athletes of all sports. We start normally as young as 8 and go all the way through the professional ranks. We even have a guy from New York Jets, Zane Lewis, that's with the Jets now. He's injured right now, unfortunately, but he'll be back stronger than ever soon. But yeah, so we start at that age and all the way through, and we do individual training, we do classes, we even do team trainings where whole teams, football or baseball or basketball teams will come in and train together, and it's just another awesome opportunity for us to affect young people and help them, guys that want to get better, help them to do that. And we don't just focus on the training effects, which means how our program changes their body and changes their numbers and builds the ability to lift and run fast, but we also will work on their mentality. And I try to pass along. I had a long athletic career, and I learned a lot. As you were talking about, things are learned. I learned a lot along the way, a lot from my experiences, a lot from being around other special coaches and players. And I want to pass that along. And one of the things that's told to young people that I don't completely agree with is, you have to make mistakes to make them. I always tell people, no, you don't. You can learn from others' mistakes. You don't always have to make the mistake. You can learn from the experience of people who have been there, done it, people that make mistakes around you, and you can apply it so you don't ever have to make that mistake. And if you do happen to make a mistake, that's fine. You can learn from it, but you can learn a lot by watching and learning.
I believe that 100%. I mean, just like, all those guys that kind of have that family mentality at the they get together with the new guys coming in. All those old guys go down and they run the hills and they do all the stuff, and they impart to them the mentality of what you need to be. And it hasn't been great lately because you got the Alabamas that are stealing all the good players.
Yeah, Clemson
and the Clemsons,
Ohio State.
That
top 5 or 6 has kind of got the.
Because it used to be the U. You wanted to be on the team. You wanted to be down in Miami.
Yeah.
And now Alabama's just. I mean, they're just eating it up, man. Saban's just eating it up.
And, crazy.
and the people who and then it translates because they're all professionals and they're all top ranked professionals now. When they leave Alabama, there's lots of schools, colleges, and stuff like that have really good players that come in, but then the translation to or the going into the pros is a complete shocker. So it's not a shocker to Alabama players. No. They're not shocked. They go in there and they know what's going to happen, the speed that's going to happen, and all that kind of stuff. So, but I also wanted to ask, having gone to Ferrum yourself, are you in the Ferrum Hall of Fame?
Absolutely. Proud to say so. Yes, I am. I was inducted in 2017. I was definitely one of the best memories of my athletic career was taking my place on that wall, because I remember when I was there as a player looking on that wall and seeing some of those guys and just being completely in awe of their accomplishments. So yes.
Well, one of my best friends is Grant Renfro. Okay. He played baseball. I don't know if you know Grant. He's
I don't know Grant personally.
Okay. Yeah. But he's in the Ferrum Hall of Fame also. Yeah. He's first baseman. Right. Hit home runs like crazy. Yeah, he's a good guy. And his son is a baseball player, plays for in this northern region area, Woodbridge and that kind of area. He plays at Colgan, who was the runner-up to Madison in the state championship. Right. I was at the game. He pitched the last 3 innings. No hit pitching for the last 3 innings against Madison. Wow. And not only that, but the guy who was pitching, who is now playing for Detroit or the Indians or somebody drafted him. I forget his name, Leonidas or something like that.
That's a strong name right there. That's a good sports name.
It's not right. That's what it's not, but it's close to that. Yeah. He was pitching a perfect game, and Brett hit a home run off him.
That's the way you break that up. That's awesome.
Exactly. So, and Brett's such a good kid, such a humble, wonderful young man. Right. But he's pitching in the 90s. He's plays center field when he's not pitching because his hitting is off the chain. Right. He's just such an athlete. And again, from the northern region, you've got kids who are phenomenal athletes. And it's been so fun to watch him because he calls me Uncle Lee, and
that's cool.
Known him. I was there when he was born. I was, all that kind of stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I can't wait to, hopefully everything stays straight. He stays healthy. He doesn't torque himself too much when he's pitching and stuff like that. But he's already as a freshman, he verbally committed to Tech.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. They came and said, "Hey, we want you to come. We'll offer you a scholarship."
That's amazing.
I know. Isn't that killer? Yeah, he's a junior this year at Colgan, so he's still got another year to go. And they've got a great ball club down here. And the guy who's running it, and I can't pull his name right now, but he was a professional player, and he has a whole system of starting young 8 years like you have in your training facility, and it's all baseball, of course, though. But it's phenomenal a setup he's got down there, and of course he's got his haters because they're pissy, right? Because
if you don't have those,
like
you're
Nick
not doing
Saban,
anything.
right? Saban, you either love him or hate him, and all I know is I just give him my full respect. The dude knows what the hell he's doing. Right. Like him or not, he's phenomenal. Right. But anyway, so I'm sitting here not talking about anything, but I want to talk about you, man.
Good. You're good.
So you played. When you played at Ferrum.
Yeah.
And from Ferrum, where did you go from Ferrum?
Yeah. So after Ferrum, the big thing once I signed with my agent, Rick Schaefer, was to get me against higher level of competition, because as a defensive back and everything, you're relative to who you're playing against. So I signed with the arena football team in Iowa called the Iowa Barnstormers. That's the team that Kurt Warner played for, and I'm excited about the Kurt Warner movie that's going to be coming out soon too, because it's going to show Des Moines and where he was at. I'm going to be like, hey, I wore those uniforms. That's cool. So I'm looking forward to that.
They might even use some real game footage. Who knows?
Yeah, they may.
But you didn't play with him.
No, he's older than I am, but but wore the uniforms, played in the barn, and So, but he was always obviously a icon for all of us and everybody in that league of what could happen if you take advantage of your opportunities.
Sure.
But went from there and had a individual workout with the Baltimore Ravens. Ozzie Newsome, and that was a player personnel guy, and that went well. And then went to rookie camp with them with a bunch of guys. It was like 5 or 6 of us that came in for a mini rookie camp. Had a lower leg injury that kind of impeded me in that. So after that, I had surgery, rehab, and went into the Arena Football League again and played for teams in Norfolk, at the Scope, played in Roanoke at the Civic Center, and then played in Albany with the Firebirds. Then ended up finishing my career here in Richmond. So I was all over and had some amazing experiences and great friends, and was an awesome ride.
It sounds like it, man. And you got to do what you love to do.
Absolutely.
Right. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's, there's aspirations to be playing for like the Ravens or somebody like that. That'd be great, but some really, really, really good athletes just can't break through, for whatever reason. Yours may have very well been because of the injury.
Yeah.
But I know that because I went to go get my FIFA license one time to be to referee at a high level, high school and college and stuff like that. And I was doing great until we did the 1 mile run, and I cranked my ankle and I had to hobble around. And I still tried, but I couldn't do it. And so therefore I didn't get my FIFA license to be a FIFA referee. I did everything else though. That was the killer. I did all the other stuff that we had to do, running and sprints and all this other stuff. And then, I think on the what's the back and forth, with the blocks, whatever that is called. It's a sprinting thing.
Yeah.
That's when I cranked my ankle.
Ouch.
And then we had a 1 mile run, and I was like, son of a banker.
It happens.
Yeah.
I'm just a firm believer. Things happen just the way that they're supposed to. It might not be what we think it should be, but things happen for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. What that reason is, sometimes we don't understand it or may never understand it.
We'll understand it one day.
Yeah. Some people do, some don't. But what is for you is for you. If it was meant for you and that was what was supposed to happen, that's what would have happened. So, and I'm a firm believer in that. So couldn't be.
Well, I do believe in that. I believe in that too. Let's talk about that for a second. I believe in that, Nate, and I want players and people out there who aspire to do things great. That there's, and that's from more joy from my perspective, and not necessarily from Nate's. I don't speak for anybody.
Right.
But being a person who's a believer in God and knowing that if you're in His will, things are going to happen. Absolutely. That you don't know what's going to happen, but they're going to happen. And therefore, it's called providence. It's providential. If you're in His will, He's already got your map laid out, which you don't see.
Right.
But you need to just have the fortitude to keep moving forward, even if it's not in the path that you want desperately it to be.
Right.
It's because that's not the path that He is made in providence for you to do.
Right.
So just be faithful and think and just know that as long as you're being faithful and doing what you need to be doing, you're going in the right direction.
Right.
Even if it's not to the pros, even if it's not to, playing varsity this year. If you're a sophomore, you think you're good enough to play varsity. Maybe the coach wants you to, this has happened a million times. This, Nate. The coaches will put a guy down in the JV because he's going to get reps all day long, in every game. Whereas if he was up at varsity, he would probably play, but he's not going to start, and he's just going to be sitting. And coaches, I know that I've done that. I put a guy down to JV, and occasionally I'll bring him up and if I know I need him, then he won't play JV that week. I can bring him up and play him in varsity.
Right.
And that's happened. But I want him to get as much reps as he can get, and he's going to get them on JV. He's not going to get them, on varsity. So, these are the things. Same with college. I don't know if they kind of have a JV, don't they? In
Yeah,
college?
they do at certain schools. They have JV or practice squad, developmental league where they'll actually scrimmage other schools and universities. Yeah,
right.
But definitely, I agree. Like I talk about it all the time. Every season has a reason. Like every part of your life, it's there for a reason. And again, you may not see it at that time, and you don't know what you're doing right now is going to lead you to the next step. How would you know? But you just whatever's in front of you, you work as hard as you can. And you learn from it. And as long as you learn from the experience, you never lose. Now, people might, I didn't achieve my goal. I lost. No, you didn't. Not if you learned from it. Now, if you didn't learn from it, of course, you lost because you're not able to apply it to your future, or it didn't bring you any closer to your future. But if you learned from something, even if you went after something and fell a little short, you still won. Because you learned from it, and now that makes you better, and you're more enabled to handle what's coming down the road, whatever that may be. And that's an important mindset that most people never get to at any point in their life. And the younger you can learn that, the better off you're going to be, and the more successful I feel that you're going to be ultimately in whatever you go after.
I would suggest this to you, and I think you'll agree. But you know what? Even if you don't know it, you're learning every single day. Every rep, like you're doing it there at the DSP, every rep you learn something. You may not recognize that you've learned it, but you've learned something new. I know that I, to this day, think of things that happened to me when I was in high school or didn't happen, and I realized that's why I'm here today where I am.
Exactly.
And as long as you know that, don't let anybody steal your joy. You got to have joy in life, no matter what position you're in, no matter what you're doing. Just keep having the fortitude to move forward. This is exactly what you talk about in So You Want to Be a Pro, and So You Want to Be a Hoop Star too. You just keep moving forward.
Keep pressing.
Nate, we're at the end of our time, but brother, you're just doing it, man. You're making it happen, and I just need to have you on more often.
Yes,
for sure. In fact, I'm pitching Nate to be on a regular on either Thursday or Friday with Be Encouraged, just like we have DP is on Tuesdays. Hoping to have maybe even Chip Baker. And Chip Baker, you need to hook up with Chip Baker, Nate. He is the one that wrote Impact of Influence with 8 other authors.
Yes.
Are you familiar?
Yes, I'm familiar with him. Yes.
Well, definitely. I can put you in touch with him because you should be writing in his next book, 3.
Yeah,
Three's already in the works, although that's supposed to be a secret. But the second one's out now.
I won't tell anybody.
The second one's out now, but he's already. And I said to him, I said, dude, you could keep making these. The Impact of Influence books could be a whole series.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
Because you have so many young men, so many older men, so many whoever, these guys who have stories that other people need to hear.
Absolutely.
And yours is definitely one of them. So I told him about you on Wednesday. And we had a discussion. I said, I got a guy that's going to be in your next book, bro. And he said, well, put him in touch with me. Put him in touch with me. So, yeah, you need to. I will definitely send Chip Baker your contact information.
Absolutely.
And if that's okay with you.
That is absolutely okay.
He's a superstar. He's a neatest man, and he's a coach. He's same thing.
Accomplished a lot.
He has accomplished a lot in his life, and having you on his show. He also does a blog called TSC, the Success Chronicles. He's been doing it for a couple of years.
Nice.
And so he may want you to come on that show too. But
cool.
Yeah, dude, keep doing what you're doing, Nate Daniels.
Appreciate it.
Definitely want to have you on talking about, I'd rather you be my co-host on Thursdays or Fridays. And I know that that's something you'd have to work out for your schedule, but it would be great to have you on as much of a regular basis as possible to talk to young people and have them tuning in to watch us talk about what, how great life is. There's too much crap out there that's teaching kids that life sucks, and life doesn't suck. It's awesome. No, it's fun. You get to personally, I get to meet a guy. I get to meet and talk to a guy like you that makes me happy. I mean, it brings me joy. And, that's what I want. And that's what I want to continue to do.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure catching up with you, man. I appreciate it. And we'll definitely stay in touch, man. I like to come on periodically, man, and talk to you and chop it up. And if we can affect some people and they can get something from it, I'm all for it.
Nate, if you have the time, just send me a little text saying, hey, listen, I got some time today. And I might say, well, I already got somebody booked or whatever. Or I might say, rock on, let's do it.
There you go.
So that'll be good. All right. Hey, thank you again, man. It's been great having you.
I'm heading up to Fairfax 95 right now to go watch my alma mater.
That's right. I forgot. You had to give him a pregame speech.
Yes, I am. Fairfax is rolling. Varsity's 3-0, JV's 4-0, freshman 4-0. It's a different era here at Fairfax. So I'm pumped up to talk to them today and watch the game. Okay.
That's awesome. And it's the Lions now, right?
Yes, it's the Lions. So protect the den. That's what they're saying.
Make sure you don't go, Rebels. Sorry.
I'm going to have a flashback. All right. Y'all be good. Buddy. Thank you so much. All right,
you take care. All right, my friend. Good to see you. Bye.
You too.
Feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I'm only saying that it feels right.